K1 men that has a very, very impressive participation list, a list of participation. On line 1, we have one of the legends of marathon canoeing now, the living legends. It's Emilio Merchan, who had his first victories in the World Championships back in 2007 and 2008, where he won gold. Since then, he has been more or less a K2 racer. He has a total amount of 5 gold medals in World Championships. Emilio Merchan on line number 1. This guy, over 35 years old. No one really knows how old he is, but he is kind of old and very, very experienced. Emilio Merchan. On the opposite side, on the inner side here in the start, is his opposite, Mads Pedersen, who won the Junior World Championships last year. Mads Pedersen from Denmark with number 28. And in between them, there are many, many good paddlers, and we will come back to all of them over this long race that is of 8 laps with 7 portages, where the paddlers portage over a short, very interesting and challenging 100-meter portage. On line number 13 with boat number 564 is another very experienced and very, very good living legend of marathon canoeing. It's Ivan Alonso from Spain as well. He had a silver medal after Hank McGregor from South Africa. He's not here because this is European Championships. Ivan Alonso had a silver medal in Oklahoma last year. And he was a gold medalist in the World Championships in Rome, and silver medalist also in Copenhagen when Hank McGregor won as well. Between him or beside him, both line number 14 is number 565, José Ramalho, who appears to be one of the most experienced paddlers in the world now as well. He has been working there a little bit behind, a little bit in the shadow of Alonso and Merchan, but he has a great track record. He won the European Championships last year with Alonso as second, and then he was third in Oklahoma in the World Championships last year. He was second in Rome. He failed totally in Copenhagen, where he finished 8th. But he has a really, really good track record.
Actually, did a really good race in Copenhagen. That was one of his best ever.
It was.
In terms of up to the point where he actually capsized.
Exactly.
And then he caught up quite a lot.
Exactly.
But up to that point, I think that was the best World Championships I'd seen him do. And it was really sad for him that he swam.
It was, there. And we will come back to all these details later on. Also, very interesting, boat number 573 from Hungary, Balázs Havas, who had under 23 gold 2014. He is on boat number 573. And now we concentrate on the start, because it will happen. Me, Stefan Gustafsson, and Ivan Lawler will guide you through this. Ivan, this is the start.
And they're off, they're away. It's always very tense. Keith Moore from Great Britain is always very good at the start. Expect him to be poking out the front. Then you've got about 4 up from the bottom. That will be Slovenian Just Jack Kresek. He's a sprinter, I believe. So he may be fading later on.
But also France is there, France, Urban Quentin, and on the inner side here is Emilio Merchan, who set up the greatest speed from the start. Emilio Merchan, and on his left-hand side is...
coming across at speed there is Keith Moore to try and get straight onto Merchan, and boom, straight in there.
Very, very
excellent work from Keith Moore.
Yes, and on the inner side of Merchan is Adam Jakob. Very quick draw him, moving to the left-hand side of Merchan, because he knows that Merchan will try to keep the initiative until the first turn up there.
And you also know that whatever happens, Merchan will be at the front. So if you're with Merchan, he'll be there. He will take you to the front if he needs to get there. He can be your route to the front as a guarantee. Jacob Adam there, also medalist in previous European Championships, mainly a K2 paddler up to this point. And on the left of the picture there, that's Ivan Alonso, easily identifiable by the pink nose on the boat there. And he is going to come up round, and he will try and squeeze out Adam and get on the side level with Alonso.
Absolutely.
Next to him, the Belgian paddler, I've been tipped off that he's also going very well, Dries Corrin. I've had information from his countrymen that he is one to watch as well.
He's new in marathon, I think.
And it's been a long time since we've had a Belgium really top-end performer from Belgium. So
coming
that's
from
good
1,000 meter, Jonathan Renard from Belgium is up there. But you could see when they disappeared in the fog there. It's not foggy actually. It's just very, very hot here. So that's why it's a little bit blurry on the pictures here. It's very hot. It's 30 degrees or so. But it's Alonso.
You got Alonso trying to go round again.
Alonso and Merchan, and they have set up a very, very high speed. I must say, very high speed. Merchan and Alonso, they are used to work together. We have seen that over the years. Ivan Alonso and Emilio Merchan, and now they are turning there halfway to the first turning point, where 1,750 meters from the start.
That time Alonso did get around Corrin. I think he was surprised the first time that Corrin could hold him off. He'd never met Corrin before, so he made a much more concerted effort. Second time he did make it to the front group there, which he didn't on the previous attempt. But people like Alonso, Merchan, they won't let that group settle until they're happy at the front of it, or at least in those front few, so they know they're safe.
Yeah, their tactics usually is to set up a very high speed from the start and keep that speed until the group is relatively safe. At least that the others are more tired out than they are, and then they slow down. They are not the type of paddlers that will go through the full race in top, but they are good tacticians and work well together.
Between them, they've got so much experience. I think they've even raced K2 together at some point in the past. I think that's all changed in the recent past, but they know each other well. They know they can rely on each other to do what they need to do to be safe at the front, and I think that counts for an awful lot. It gives you that little bit of relaxation in your mind, knowing someone else up there. People like Corrin, though, they come into a race like this with obviously a lot of good physical speed. They know what they're trying to do, but nobody's met them before, and that throws an element of confusion into the rest of the field. They've got a short time to learn about Corrin before they actually have to deal with him later in the race when things get a bit more critical. So they will all have a little bit of an eye on him. It'll be a bit of a surprise to them so far, and they will have to learn a way of dealing with him. Now, the big guys, if they get the choice, if they have their way, they'll be choosing roughly who's allowed to stay with them and who isn't. People who start to hassle those leaders, they'll be given the roughest washes, and they will be essentially asked to leave that front group at some stage. So a head-on shot of them coming towards the first turn. Everyone's in there still. It's hard to pick who the actual leader is with that head-on shot.
The Spaniards in their red shirts are there, I think. Ramalho used to have a white shirt from the front, and the Ramalho, I think, also is there somewhere.
Have you seen Ramalho here all weekend, though? I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him warming up. I haven't seen him training.
No, I haven't. But he's not scratched, so he should be here.
Is that
Hungary
with the blue hat? Is that Ramalho?
No, I don't think it's Hungary.
I think it's so hard to tell at these angles. Possibly that blue hat in the new Nelo Cinco is Ramalho. That would make sense. He's Portuguese. He's associated with Nelo, so that would make sense if that was him.
Yes. It is Ramalho. You are absolutely right. I recognize him from the technique there. I'm pretty sure it's Ramalho on top now.
I'm very surprised that you've got Merchan to his left and then Alonso to his left.
Yes.
And you would think then
Jakob
that
is coming up there.
Merchan would allow Alonso to come past him and squeeze him into the V-wash at this stage.
To be a little bit more easy for you to track who is who, is that Spain is paddling in red and yellow. Ramalho is red and white. Czech Republic is blue. Adam Jakub out there on the far left side. Hungary is green. The only guys using green. Easy to recognize, and I think it's Balazs there that is in the middle.
You see Corin there just struggling off the back of that group.
Zakrajsek, okay. Zakrajsek is one of the first ones.
So he was the one leading into that first turn with the blonde hair. And now it's all Ramalho, Pedersen. We spoke about junior world champion. He was too ill to race yesterday, or possibly too ill. He chose not to race on the under 23. His coaches told us that he'd pulled out because he was ill. Obviously he's feeling quite a lot better there, Stefan,
yes.
if he's up the front end of that race.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zakrajsek is Jos Zakrajsek is a Slovenian 1,000-meter paddler, quite successful on 1,000 meters. He was here last year in the World Cup and did very well. He on the World Cup we are doing the short tracks and that is 2,800 meters about in heat, semifinals and finals, and he actually won that on his home turf here in. On the World Cup.
But this is a bit longer than two and a half
10
days.
times, 10 times longer, a little bit more actually.
Were there portages on those short tracks? Yeah,
yes,
so he can. So that's not a problem to him.
No, it's not a problem.
He portaged well.
Yeah, quite well.
So, so very often you see the sprinters start to fail at the technical sections like the portages, but seems he's capable at least of getting through one. And here we go. So that's Ramalho back in the lead. He enjoys being in the lead. He enjoys quite a high pace. To his left looks like Merchan. It's not the clearest picture as you can see, but it looks like Merchan's style. Zakrajsek, the blonde hair, sort of fourth back in that picture. Still quite a big group. But the chasing group just out of shot there, I imagine, still has intention of closing back onto the back of that group. But as they come out of the heat haze on their way back, we should be able to identify them a little bit easier, or we may get another screen graphic, which was great from the last turn.
This is a development that we usually see nowadays, quite a big group, not only nowadays, it used to be like that and have been all through the years in K1 men. It's so many good paddlers and they can keep the group for together until maybe the first portage actually.
And even after that, you only have to drop one of the good guys after the portage and he will catch up. I mean, this isn't over for a long time yet. But it's interesting from the old, when we used to race, Stefan and I back in the day, you see them a little bit of collision there, but it's still quite enjoyable being in the thick of that back bunch. You remain very anonymous, at least for the first lap, and no one really knows where you are. A lot of the time you see people looking around to see where you are, especially if you're one of the bigger names. And it's kicking off there now. Somebody's coming up. And no intention of leading, but they just want to get onto Ramalho's sidewash. When they get there, they'll slow it down. In fact, they have. They're going to move through. Get to this horrible confusion where you end up with 2 or 3 at the front because no one actually wants to lead. They just want to get the best position. So you have these huge efforts. Everyone ends up in a line, and then it has to readjust from there. It's very common to see that.
Hungary is moving there. Every such move costs a lot of energy and pull lactic acid into the muscles. So you need to be careful. And I know you Ivan, always use the technique staying there in middle of the group, anonymous. Mine was the opposite, being in the front or actually being off for a while, not getting any lactic acid into the body until the first 2 or 3 kilometers were over and the speed decreased somewhat, and then make the move. That's also
that takes a lot of bravery, I must admit. That's more bravery than I had. One of the reasons I used to tuck in the back is when you have those bursts of speed, of course the waves stretch out.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't have to accelerate as fast as the other guys. You only have to wait until the wave stretches out and then you run back down the wave.
Yes.
So you don't have the extremes in the back there. You don't have the extremes of acceleration, you don't have the extremes of speed. And so it's quite a good way of saving some money, if you like, for the later laps.
And now it's Hungary. I think it's Balázs. Hungary has two very good paddlers here. Adrian Boros, who finished 8th last year, but we know him from under 23 and also as a junior early on. Adrian Boros.
And he's flanked by both the Spaniards, so good at keeping themselves out of trouble. Everything's clean with them, they're just keeping themselves out of trouble, keeping a little bit of an exit route should things go wrong. And that's another strategy that some people like to use. They like to have that exit in case disaster hits. If you are stuck in the back and there's an accident in front of you, then you become a victim of that accident, and that isn't always massively helpful. So I'm struggling to see, but I don't think I can see Keith Moore there, which is disappointing at this stage, but he again isn't work shy. He'll be fighting to get back on terms with these guys. So just trying to work out who is in there. That's Corey in there, who was looking so strong up the first leg, maybe paying for a bit of over-ambition. And this is the tail end of that lead group.
Quite a big group still. It's probably Havas Balázs, Hungary. He made the same last year at the European Championships in Piestany. He stayed in the top for a long while, Havas Balázs, and finished 4th.
See how much
in
water.
The under 23.
See how much water he throws up off his paddles.
Yeah, he
now
does.
If you're sat either side of that, slowly but surely, that's going into your boat.
Yes, yes.
That's a job for you to do. I mean, it's not a massively efficient way of paddling, lifting that much water, but it becomes a problem to the guys wash hanging him.
Yes.
And they maybe wash hang out a little bit wider because of that, don't gain quite so much advantage, but that also upsets the washes further back down the diamond. So
I think also we have Mathias Hamar somewhere there, the Norwegian paddler. He finished 3rd last year.
And you can tell Pedersen there. You can tell.
Yeah, Pedersen. Yes.
You can tell he's the youth because he's got his cap on the wrong way round.
Yeah.
So he's easily identifiable as a young kid in an old man's group.
Yeah, pretty much so. Mathias Hamar is not that old either.
We got Italy in there. Also, either Benedini or Graziani, we may be able to get a number on him.
A very, very good turn there. They left a good room for each other. Wonderfully done.
And it's just quite nice. You got Alonso hit the front now.
Alonso,
Merchant to his left.
Ramalho, Jakob, Sakrajcek.
Alonso obviously not keen, nor Merchant on leading.
588.
Back
Who's
to
that?
it again.
Ivan, 588.
588. I haven't got a 588. I've got a 568.
568. Right? Yes.
568 is Graziani.
Graziani, Italy. He's also there. I try to use my binocular now to identify who is who.
Still got Zakracek in there, and a few more have joined them, tucked on the back of that group again. Now the leaders don't really mind people tucking on the back of the group. It's hard work back there for some of them, and if they're there for a while, actually it makes no difference to you as the leader. They will be falling off again later at the next turn of speed. The race, you can see, is stopping and starting, stopping and starting. No one really wants to lead. In a minute someone will do a big flurry because they're getting fed up with all the collisions in the back. Someone will want to break out to the side usually and come all the way up the side, and hopefully the group will reform around them. But at the moment it's just a bit of a bun fight in there. And it looks like it's Merchant starting to take it on.
It's Merchant, it's Italy, Czech Republic. It's shifting a lot in this early stage of the race. Everyone fighting for a good position.
You can see as people come up the outside and squeeze in, so the people in the diamonds have to drop back. There's a bit of a fight in the middle there over the diamond, and it's going to get a bit ugly in a minute, I think. So there you go. It's Who came off worse from that? Zakracek. He's had to move out to the side. And that was a little bit amateur, really, from Balaz. Now, I've got questions over Balaz's suitability for a group race like this, as we spoke earlier. And there's a mistake there that cost both him and the person that he collided with. And really, with people as experienced as Merchan, Alonso in there, those mistakes will be costly. And I think it's a very different mentality to paddle off the front of a race or to have to join in under someone else's rules. And really in this race, it's going to be Romalo, Alonso and Merchan who are laying down the rules and dictating how this race is going to be run.
Absolutely. Halash is still a young guy. I saw him last year in the under 23, where he did a great race, both in the Europeans and in the Worlds.
So if the group stays like this, the first portage again, like as we saw this morning, is going to be one of the deciding factors. There will be someone in there who's only just clinging on and the slightest bit of disadvantage at the portage, and they won't be catching up. It's going to be interesting to see. Watch the positioning. We watched the juniors this morning. A couple of people didn't have ideal positioning. There's always going to be one, but ideally you make your best position available to you. We saw Magnus Gregory this morning making a small beginner's error, and which he learnt from and didn't reproduce on any subsequent laps. So as they make their way up to the top turn, maybe we'll get a head-on shot as the cameras change, and hopefully we'll get a nice graphic as they go around the corner, and we'll just see who's there. I'm sure we haven't named that many paddlers in our commentary yet. There's a lot there. And off to the left hand side goes a bit of a break. Everyone has to cover these breaks at this stage. Looks like it's a Spaniard leading that.
Absolutely.
Possibly Merchan.
Merchan, yes. I think Alonso is there as well. And it looks like the guy with the hat backwards, it should be the Dane then. Is that really possible, Mats Pedersen?
If he's stepped up to this sort of level straight from junior, then he's going to be a very good marathon paddler, without a doubt.
Yes.
And you'd also have to feel sorry for him that he didn't manage to race yesterday and win his, or at least be in with a chance of winning the under 23.
Absolutely.
I've just lost picture for a moment there, and luckily we're back on straight away. So this is picture as they head towards the first turn. Leader looks to be wearing blue. It will either be Graziani of Italy or someone from the Czech Republic. Two Spanish still there, Romalo still there, all the main contenders. Graziani's got the blue headscarf on, a little bit of Italian style there, Stefan. You've got to admire anyone who's got the nerve to wear a headscarf while they race. But
it's Italy. 568, I think, Matteo Graziani.
Yep.
Who was 8 in Copenhagen, but we have seen him doing many races over the years.
Or it may be another backwards hat. Maybe he's also young.
Yeah. If we can have the graphics on soon here, it would be really, really good.
So that's going to be Jacob Adam leading from Graziani. On the inside, and pink nose on his boat will be Alonso. Interested to see who's tucked in behind them. White nose of the boat there, and it's Merchan. There's a bit of experience for you.
And Alonso in the middle there.
And at the same time, Zakracek is fighting his way uphill.
There we have them, Adam, Alonso, Graziani, Urban, French, the Urban.
No,
Merchan, Max Pedersen is there.
Urban is Hungarian. Oh no, he is French. Sorry,
he's French.
But he's got good history.
Yes.
He's been first and second at Junior Worlds on the same year. So he's second in the K1 and first in the K2, way back in 2006.
and there are 12 paddlers within 8 seconds. So it's a fairly big group there. Jakob Adam in the lead. Very experienced as well, both as a K2 and K1 paddler. Jakob Adam from Czech Republic. He won the Europeans last year in K2. And he had a bronze medal in Singapore together with Odvarko in K2 also. Having done several K1 races, but on the World Championships not so far any medals. But it could be one here.
At this stage, the big group surely favours the more experienced paddlers. They'll find the places where they can rest. They'll always be slightly safer than the other guys. They'll be more cautious. They won't get into any fights they don't need to get into. And it'll be very interesting. They're not in sight yet, even from the commentary box, but they're coming down that back straight towards the third turn. No portage on the first lap. I think that's the first time I've remembered that since we got here. But I'd like to say that I did just then. I'm quite proud of myself there. That second group is just joining in on the tail.
That's also a development we are used to see. There are paddlers out there that are cool enough not to use the best of their energy in the first stage of the race, and then they fall back a little bit to start with, but then using good tactics in the waves back there and making progress over the distance.
That's Keith Moore who's made that jump. Now you're back into the end of that group. Then you just have to find somewhere of safety now.
Yes.
Somewhere where you can get a couple of minutes rest, and then your job from that time on is to pick off one person and move up the group until you're in the safe end of that group.
You can actually see the difficulties there. If you watch Kate Moule there in the middle, the water is splashing over his foredeck, so it's quite rough back there. You need to navigate, and you need to have a good balance, not to get too stiff in the boat and use a lot of energy of that.
But the benefit of it being rough is it means there's waves. Every time there's a wave, there's a downhill.
Exactly.
And if you can find that downhill, then life gets easy. And it's kicking off at the front again. This is not what you need when you've just caught up, is it, Stefan? You've just made the effort.
Yeah.
They go again, and that little gap opens up again.
It's Odvarko once again that is going in. It's Merchan also. Merchan and Odvarko and
Alonso,
Alonso
safe as houses, always. He's just
always,
there and there.
Yes. These guys probably in the turn turned their heads and saw that they are coming up from behind and increased the speed a little bit to safeguard their positions in top of the race.
At this stage, they've only got 6 minutes, 6 minutes to the turn. To the portage rather. And actually, they don't want too many people there at the portage, because that just increases your chances of an accident. So I think when they get to the final turn before the portage, I think there'll be a big effort around that turn.
Absolutely.
And that effort will be sustained all the way from that turn to the portage.
Absolutely.
I would guess. I mean, you can't second guess these guys. They know what they're doing. They may have a different plan, but you really don't need to be too crowded at this first portage. So there you can see that little gap, that frustrating gap really for those guys that just caught up. There's Keith Moore leading that group again. He just put in all that effort. He'd come up on equal peggings with the others. Someone else is making the bridge for him this time. Very impressive effort by whoever that is in the red-nosed boat, is it? Or is that just the sunlight playing tricks on the camera? It's the red and then it's blue, that boat. I can't work it out. But that was an impressive. That was a big jump. There's a 5 second gap he closed up there.
And now he's
massively impressive, and he's looking reasonably comfortable there too. So at the front, situation normal. You can see how calm it is at the front end there.
Emilio Merchan. Probably the most experienced paddler we have on the men's side. It's only Renato Shea that can keep up with his experience.
And paddlers like him, he's a hard man.
He's a
hard man. So
tough.
So to challenge him for the wash that he wants is something that not many people would be brave enough to do.
No.
And that leaves him with a free choice of where he wants to go very often. Yeah, you're not going to bump into the side of him.
No.
That is not a risk you're going to take.
Keep people off just by watching them.
Yeah,
watching them.
And the guy who back years and years ago who's exactly like that was Lars Koch.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't mess with Lars Koch.
No,
If
never.
he looked at you and said no, then that meant no. And that's exactly how I see Merchan.
And you knew the consequences if you didn't obey that.
There are some guys that are tough out there, and some that are a little bit soft. And I think I fell into the soft category, to be fair. But those tough guys, what is it about them? You just know the rules.
Yeah, but I mean, they are not mean. They are just tough.
Yeah.
So
they can shut you down with a stare.
Yeah.
Which saves them an awful lot of effort because they don't have to shut you down by trying harder. So as they approach, they got about 30 seconds to go to the first turn, and things are starting to kick off already.
Yes.
So this is going to be
Alonso started it,
and Merchan. Look at that, pretty impressive. Alonso,
and of course Ramalho. Is it Ramalho?
Yeah, Ramalho. Just Ramalho, you see the white bow of his boat. Slightly unusual bow. That's a new design of boat there.
Yes.
And it's those main three. They've made it to safety, haven't they? Yeah. With the portage coming up.
And who is the guy outside Ramalho?
I'm struggling to identify him.
Is it the other Portuguese, Alfredo Faria?
It could be.
Yeah. He's also experienced, no medals so far, but he's always within
a lot
top
of sort
group.
of 5th, 6th places for him. So I'm surprised they've let it slow down from there. That shows a lot of confidence.
Yes.
So you can come in hard to the portage.
They do exactly what they need to do, nothing else. Nothing more.
Anyone who was scared and hit that turn first would be going hard all the way to the turn.
Yes.
Now there'll be another little flurry before the portage. You can see the action at the back of the group. And the guys at the front somehow sense that. They don't see it necessarily, they just get a sense that something's kicking off.
Yeah, and now
Romalo's moved out to close that move down, and now we're moved back in to get back on terms with Alonso and come into the portage on his wash. It's good paddling by Romalo, and he's going to close, and it's going to get very tight in the back there all of a sudden. So Romalo, Alonso, Merchan and Havas are in the prime spots there.
Yes.
Let's see how clean they can get out. The group's strung out. There's going to be a few people ditched after this portage.
It's both Adrian Boros actually also.
But look how calm. Look how calm these three guys are coming in.
No panic there.
No
just
panic
nice
at all.
and easy.
They know their job.
Yeah, balancing their boats.
Romalo a little bit slow getting out, but absolutely no rush. Now we'll see these tail enders. There'll be a bit of rush, a bit of sweat, a bit of panic. But geez, I mean that's like a professional attitude right there. Running well, all of them.
Also Boros running well. Both Hungarians are running really well.
Where did Romalo go? Romalo normally runs one of the fastest runners in the game. He's just put his boat in now.
His light blue boat, but he lost some ground.
There,
he lost some ground.
And they're going for it.
No.
The leaders are going for it now.
Yes. And Romalo
doesn't look comfortable there.
No. He has a great job now.
So Alonso, Merchan, Boros, Romalo, Havas, they were the big players there.
Urban and Faria, it was his second Portuguese. And Matthias Hamar is there as well. Matthias Hamar, the bronze medalist from last year.
The inexperience of Pedersen came into the portage 13th. He's been in the group the whole way. But a slight bit of inexperience, and I'm sure coming out of that portage he's lost quite a lot of ground.
It's just 12 seconds behind though.
Okay, here we go. So it's Merchan from one of the Hungarians who is definitely intent on pressing on.
Now. Yes.
Romalo looks good again. He's back in. What Romalo now? He needs to duck into the middle between those ones.
Yes.
Don't sit there, man. Or is there someone already coming in from the back?
Yeah, it is.
So he's already sensed. No, he's gone in now. No trouble.
Great move.
So he's moved in.
he's counting on the speed of Alonso there.
And the Spanish also stitched Romalo up there. He dropped back into the wash that Romalo wanted.
Yes.
He didn't need to do that, but he chose to do that. So he saw Romalo coming and he chose to disadvantage Romalo. If at this stage he's already choosing what he does to other people, you know he's very well in control of himself.
Yes, he is, normally. But interesting to see the Hungarians now. Both Boros and Havas is up there and going for it.
They are, but they didn't do any damage when they did that. Not to the big guns.
No, not any damage, but they are there and they are taking initiatives and are doing really well.
So it's going to be a long haul. For the group will reform, I think, slightly.
Yes.
It won't stay as the 4, but those other guys are working extremely hard to catch that gap. And you can see just loitering in the background there is Jack Krasek, who was so strong on the first turn, and now he's on his own in the middle of nowhere, and that's game over for him.
I think it's exactly as it usually is when sprint paddlers try this. It's a different game.
You know, for a sprint paddler, the answer to any problem is to pull harder.
Yes.
Because that's what you have to do. If you're behind, you have to pull harder in a sprint. In the marathon, the answer to every problem is not to pull harder.
No.
Often it's to wait, find a wave. Maybe someone else will pull you up to the front group. Have a look around, see what your options are. But you must always be aware of your options. If you get caught with just one option, you know you're in trouble at that stage. So up the lake they go. It's going to be a long time till we get any real sensible view. It looks like a Hungarian going out to the right. He's going to try and break into that front 4. That front 4 is very comfortable, but whoever was on the wash on the right hand side, happy to be pushed back into the V wash. Now you'll see on the left side the same will happen. Whoever's going out wide to the left will have to come round and squash out the guys sitting on the left hand wash. And so this cycle will repeat. Will repeat and repeat until someone gets so tired that they can't do it anymore. So it looks to be 5 boats away. Very uncomfortable number 5.
Yes.
Isn't it? Probably one of the most uncomfortable numbers.
It is, because the 5th boat is always the 5th wheel under the wagon, and they need to fight for positions all the time. It's uncomfortable for all of them actually, because positions will shift all the time. In
that situation, one of your best safety strategies is to make friends with someone. Do someone a favour, and if you do someone a favour, you can then get that favour back in return, and you might lose out on one of your turns to catch up because somebody has done you that small favour. But first you must put out. You must do someone a favour, maybe not take their wash when you could, or cut them into the V when they want to be cut into the V. So now's the time to be making friends. The Spanish already know each other, they've got their friend in the group already, they're sorted. But for the others, at this stage you need allies.
And I think Ramalho is within that group as well. They know each other very well and have developed together.
Yeah. Now it's interesting. The other interesting thing when you've got a group like this, if you go up and you try to squash someone into the V-wash and they don't let you do it, there's one of 2 reasons. Either they're better than you or they're desperate and they can't afford to get into the cycle anymore. So if you see someone who does that and they don't let you overtake, try them again. And if they're desperate, they will move. Their actions will become more and more erratic, and they'll hold you off in more and more erratic ways. And then you've got some knowledge about them. You know they're on the limit. Often the very good guys will let you overtake them very easily. They don't mind being pushed into the V. They don't mind that they'll have to take their turn coming round. They've got plenty of spare strength. They've got plenty of spare ability.
Pushing them into the V, what do you mean by that?
By coming up the outside of them, squashing onto the leader, and pushing them back into the gap behind the leader.
What we usually call as the gold wash behind the leader, because it's really comfortable to be there.
If you had to estimate how much you save, maybe 30%.
Yeah, maybe.
That's an estimate, obviously, but
sometimes it could be washed there where you can really close to no paddling.
Yeah,
you can just hang on there.
And actually, the higher the speed, the relative difference gets greater and greater. And sometimes one of the most annoying things to do to someone who's sat in that gold wash, diamond wash, is to make the group go really slowly, and they don't gain as much from that. But here we go. So it's Merchan, Hungary coming round. It's his turn to come round. He'll squash Is that guy letting him? Yep. He had
Exactly as you said, he didn't fight.
Didn't fight him. He gave it one small bit,
Yeah.
but he's happy to drop back to the V.
Sure, of
now
course.
it's Romalo's turn. He has to come round. He'll pick on Alonso. Alonso, I imagine, will let him do that. Alonso's not going to be scared of holding him off. Actually, we've come to a turn, so that kind of disrupts things slightly. It disrupts the pattern. But once we come out of the turn, I think you'll see Romalo come up the side.
It's Adrian Boros, the Hungarian is Adrian Boros. Boros that finished 8th in Oklahoma, but he was in the top group until the final stage of the race. Adrian Boros last year.
So as we come out of this turn,
and he finished 5th in
actually,
the
Alonso's dropped onto Merchant's tail. He keeps doing this to the guys that are behind him. He knows Romalo's going to come round him, and he's going to make Romalo make the jump all the way from the back of the group to the front. It's doubled Romalo's job, and Romalo has no choice about overtaking the two of them together, which leaves Alonso with that gold diamond V.
Would be interesting to have the graphics now.
And we may have made a little split there. Whoever's dropped back.
Here it comes, Merchan, Boros, Alonso, Urban. It's Urban still there. Ramalho, Graziano.
It was Urban in the blue cap, I think.
Yes.
In the blue.
Hamar is just 10 seconds behind as well, and Adam. And then it's a gap. Krajewski.
Of those guys in the front group, maybe you'd pick Urban as the weaker one.
Yes.
And slowly they will work him over until he's gone.
Yes. All the other ones are really experienced marathon paddlers. Even if Urban have done some races, it's not the track record of the others.
And the others will be more comfortable with themselves in that group anyway. They all know how each other works.
But I think actually they will be a much larger group when they approach the portage. It's many people there coming up, and the speed won't be that high from now on. As I say that, I think it increases a bit with Merchan in top.
So still, as the whole process going around the outside, squeezing in onto the leader's wash.
This is quite rapid now. We saw last year a very, very rapid 2-3 first laps where Alonso and in the World Championships where Alonso and Hank McGregor did it so well, and then the speed slowed down slightly, making the group increase again. So they were a very big group until the final stage.
But even with those high speeds in the group, they weren't lapping any quicker than the juniors or the under-23s in Oklahoma. The lap times were the same. So after 5 laps of the junior race, the time of the junior race would still be ahead of the senior race in Oklahoma. It was really interesting how close the times were. After 5 laps, there was only, I think, 20 seconds between all 3 races.
Okay.
So everyone's capable of the average speeds, but it's the really high speeds in the senior races that do the damage. And it's the way these top guys will manipulate you and force you to be in positions you don't like. So still Merchan on his right, Alonso. As soon as that group gets big, those guys operate for safety again. They're straight up to the front. They're straight into safe territory. Meanwhile, a few people floundering a bit at the back there. Someone just dropping off. Could be Pedersen with his cap on back to front, just hanging off the back of that group.
Yes.
But he's moving up again. He's moving up again.
He was only 10 seconds, 12 seconds behind when we saw the graphics.
And he's trying to come all the way round, but to come all the way round and not finish the job and not to get on the lead wash is maybe a bit of inexperience. They should finish that job off, get to the lead wash.
Otherwise, they just waste energy.
Yeah, you've just spent a lot of energy to get to a position that isn't massively beneficial anyway. And now he'll gradually drop back to see if he can find somewhere more comfortable.
It's going to be a very, very warm day for them out there. It's hot in here.
It is, and we're in a lovely white tent.
Yeah.
Lakeside. The whole group's slowed down again now. Merchan and Alonso obviously decided they might have done enough for a while. And no one really prepared to take that on. If you just caught up to that group, as half these paddlers have, that's quite a relief, isn't it? But you do know that something's always brewing at this stage. Something, it doesn't go this speed for long. At some stage it will kick off, and there we go. Okay, somebody's going to try something. A little bit dangerous there. You see them having to stop paddling to avoid the other paddler. But he came through. His main goal there was to get onto the lead wash, which he's done successfully, if a little aggressively. And it all slows back down again. But it's just a matter of time. Interesting that Merchan's been sort of shuffled to the back of that group now. He doesn't look too fazed by it though, does he? Looking very relaxed there. Alonso happy just to cruise along at the front. Both Alonso and Merchan have got such a good turn of speed that they can respond very quickly if they need to. And with experience, you develop eyes in the back of your head as well as the front. You know exactly what's going on behind you. And they're just about coming into sight from our tent now as well. There is some poor unfortunate off the back of that group by about 10-15 seconds, paddling alone. But while they're going this speed, he does at least have an opportunity of closing that gap. So Alonso, Romalo, Adam, and again a little flurry. Someone's decided they don't like being where they are, and in the white boat they've come around trying to squeeze Adam off the front, who's lost a bit of picture there. And a little bit of a reshuffle again. Sorry I didn't catch exactly where everyone ended up. And again it kicks off. This time it's Merchan, he's come from the back.
Alonso, Merchan and Alonso.
And a very destructive sprint there.
Ramalho on the outside there, getting into the middle wash. And the Boros. And Adam is well positioned as well. Just behind Alonso now.
Could be Pedersen coming up on the outside as well.
Yes.
I very much doubt at this stage whether Merchan would allow him to cut in.
No,
this is dangerous territory to be squeezed into the back.
But I don't think he won't. He is perfectly positioned there.
Yeah, Pedersen's giving it a go, isn't he? He is coming up.
Absolutely.
And maybe he's got room.
Look at him now.
But I can't see the Spanish accepting that comfortably. You see, at this stage normally Pedersen would cut in to Alonso, but it's Merchan in the middle, and he's just not got the nerve to do that to Alonso. He just hasn't got the bravery to finish the move off that he started. Perfect move, came all the way round, probably got the death stare from from Merchan.
And Italy is doing well on the outside there as well now.
So here we come into the portage, and you know what? It's exactly the same four in the lead four as it was for the first portage, and you see that play out again and again. Romalo very confident in the V-wash there because he knows exactly what those guys in front of him are thinking.
It's actually not Max Pedersen, it's Mattias Hamar. It's Mattias Hamar on the outside in the white shirt. Mattias Hamar, the Norwegian, who was had a bronze medal last year. That makes sense.
That makes a lot more sense actually.
Mattias Hamar is doing well. I've seen him training this year as well. He's really in good shape.
But still, you see how he's being dictated to by the Spanish. He's got nowhere to go here. He has to wait. He's got to wait to get out. Now there's someone come up behind him, and he's actually out. He's still there now. He's still there now. And whoa! So he actually just stood there. We can't see exactly. In fact, it looks like he's buried the front of his boat under the pontoon, maybe, and then filled with water.
was that?
So, yeah, he came in the side with the two Spanish. The Spanish absolutely, that was Hamar so the two Spanish pretty much stitched him up there. They didn't give him any exit. There was, whoa, Alonso was lucky there. Someone put their boat in on top of him. Had a little bit of a fluster.
But you can see that he didn't even react at all on that. He was so focused, just getting along, so he just didn't care.
First things first, his own safety was paramount to him.
Exactly. It's Alonso in his Boros.
Alonso, Boros, Merchan. And somebody will be in that diamond. It's not Romalo.
It is.
It is Romalo? No, isn't that the wrong boat? There might be Faria.
Faria, yeah.
So Romalo again, disappointing on the portage.
Yes.
Disappointing on the first one.
Graziani.
There's Romalo there, sitting with Graziani. So Romalo, I mean, he's known for his portaging ability. He's known for his running. He's won 2 of these events off the back of his running. And now he's getting left on 2 out of 2 portages.
Yes. Can we have the graphics now?
And this front 4 working hard. They're not going to make it easy for these guys. And there we go. Alonso, Boros, Merchan, Graziani. That's coming into the portage,
yes.
I think.
Just at the pontoon. I mean, Hamar is lost 17 seconds on that.
And that's obviously going to be disappointing for him.
Yes.
Adam also. Faria was the one who did well out of that. He came out of that in the front 3.
Yes.
He obviously ran well, portage well, kept things clean. Romalo, very disappointing.
But it is in an early stage, and we will see him later on keeping up, I think. Really unsuccessful for Hamar there. Did you see he made any mistakes going in there?
No, it's just that he didn't have anywhere to go. He had the 2 Spanish already taking up the whole of the pontoon. So then maybe he came into the pontoon too sharp in the end and put the nose under something. It was on the wrong side of the pontoon for us to see. But essentially he became rushed.
Yes.
And once you become rushed, you make bad decisions.
It's always a question to have a position where if you shall be totally safe into a portage, you should keep an initiative and have no one in front of you. That's the absolutely most safe way. But that is hard. So.
But also sometimes the wisest thing to do is not to keep going forward. Sometimes the wisest thing to do is stop.
Yes.
It's counterintuitive. It's not something you think is a wise thing, stopping. Everyone else is going forwards. But sometimes the way to get out of trouble is to stop. Let the trouble pass and then do something in the peaceful time after the massive flurry.
Then you might lose 3 seconds instead of 17.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a big decision to make. And
a quick one.
And you have to make it instantly, absolutely. Yeah? And I did a lot of K2 races, and convincing your partner, who also he's caught in the panic, and to convince your partner to stop, you have to have instructions firmly in place. And I remember, my instructions to my partner was, if I say stop, I don't mean slowly, I mean actually stop. And we have to stop the boat as quick as possible, get out of the trouble, and start again. And that was one of the instructions. That was probably the most important instruction we had. And to try and tame someone as active as Steve Harris that I used to race with. I mean, he wasn't relaxed, wasn't a word that springs to mind when you talk about Steve Harris. So to actually try and tame him enough to get him to stop a boat was quite a job. But that's the backman's job, and he learnt his job well. Had a few good results.
A few, yes.
Here we are, head-on shot, difficult. That looks like just 4. It's definitely Merchan leading. Alonso to his left. Hamar. I don't mean Hamar, sorry. Hungarian. Boros to his right. And Faria tucked neatly. I mean, that's a nice, safe place to be at this stage, isn't it?
Really.
You can bet your life that Romalo is looking at his countrymen there and not thinking the kindest thoughts.
But Faria have been there before, have been in the top group several times, but have not had the ability to really keep on. A couple of good positions, but no medals yet.
So you see Merchan there, he's dropped off the front of the group, and he decided which wash he wanted. He dropped straight back through the group. He had no intention of staying on the side wash. His thought process there is, I've just done a bit, and now you guys are going to give me a rest. And look how low his hands are, look how relaxed his shoulders are. That's pulling less than half pressure, at least. That's total recovery. If he can stay there for another minute, 2 minutes even, then that will be total recovery and he'll be back to totally rested.
He's just keeping up the balance there and doing it nice and neat.
But Boris is not having that. Maybe he's thought that through. Boris knows that Merchan is one of his main rivals here. So if you've decided that that's the case and you want to hurt Merchan, every time he gets in that diamond, you must get him out of that diamond, even if that means you doing some work. So you want the rival that you fear the most to spend the least time in the diamond. As we said earlier today, if you get the diamond, you need to be in that diamond when the leader who goes the fastest is in the lead. So for me, at the moment, Boros is going to be the fastest leader. That's the way he's going to operate. We saw him do.
Yes.
We've seen him do that before. So if I'm choosing who to be in the V-wash behind, I want to be in the V-wash behind Boros. No rush there from Merchan. Alonso now tucked in the diamond. And just
Jakob and Ramalho is coming up there once again.
It's all regrouped.
Yep. Hamar,
everyone stop it for a drink.
And Graziani is also coming up there now, and they're all together again.
They're all together and virtually stopped.
Yes.
During that process, you would think that someone like Graziani could get to the front, but actually, even if he postures to get to the front, that race will kick off immediately.
Immediately.
So it looks so easy for someone at that stage to come around and join in the front, get themselves a comfortable wash. But all of those guys are absolutely 100% ready for that. And if someone comes around to wash they want, that speed will pick up instantly. So they're all comfortable again. Group of 8. Pity the poor guy that's just come in shot there on his own. And so they'll come round. Fairly uneventful leg down the back end of the lake there, and it will all start kicking off at the next portage again.
Hope for the graphics soon.
So Merchan, really one of the big all-time stars. He's got 5 World Championship medals already. He's still got time for a couple more maybe. He's up there. He's sort of he's 6th ranking superstar of all time at the moment. He's on equal 5 with Hank McGregor and myself. I've got to put myself in there, Stefan.
Absolutely, you've got to.
Although it's very unlikely that I'll be getting any more. No. whereas Merchan, he's still got a chance of a couple more. So, and the same goes for Hank McGregor. Obviously, they're still in the game.
Yes.
I think it's a long road back for me now, Stefan. Maybe too long.
Yeah.
So they're up there on 5 goals, just behind Anna Hemmings on 6. Manuel Busto also retired now on 10. That's a big target to reach, even from 5, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
That's a lot. And then you're up into the true superstars, if you like, Jure, Zay and Chabai on 11, 15 and 17 respectively.
Susanne Gunnarsson has also something like that.
I can tell you, because I've got a page back here where I worked it all out. She obviously didn't make the cut, so I'm thinking 4.
4? Yeah, maybe so.
I'll get back to my working out page. Talk amongst yourselves for a while, and I will join you when I get to the page that counts. Here we go. Gunnarsson, I put a cross by because she didn't make 5, so she must be on 4. I'm guessing. Anyone who got 5 made the shortlist. The main reasoning for 5 being the end of the shortlist was, of course, that I made that count.
Sure. a little bit unfair though to all of the old guys, including yourself, because the World Championships was only every second year back then.
Yeah, and the unfairness extends because you go back to the previous generation. You're looking at people like Alan Williams, who were the true superstars of their era.
Yes.
They never even had. Well, Alan did have one opportunity to get a medal at Nottingham, but by then he was past his prime.
Yeah.
And people like that really were true.
Marchand, Boros, Alonso, Graziani, Ramalho, Adam Faria, Urban, and Hamar. Hamar is still 10 seconds behind there, so that was maybe the lonely rider there after the top group that we saw.
Only 7 seconds off the back of the group.
Yeah.
It's still closable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the old superstars, and to me, you know, if there was one guy that I would have no idea how to break his armour, was Lars Koch.
Yes.
Because he was prepared to work all day, every day, if he had to do that. His acceleration was phenomenal. He had the death stare that Merchand's got. He had everything. What could you do to the man? And tactically brilliant as well, and absolutely phenomenal. And for me, if you have to list the superstars in order, he would be
one of them.
For me, he's definitely up the top end.
Absolutely. Tor Nielsen as well.
Tor Nielsen maybe not as
technical
as, but then you've got other people who never made the big time. I'm thinking of the Dutch guy, Rick Dahmen.
Rick Dahmen, yeah.
Now there was someone who could find a wash if there was a duck on the lake. He would find a wave off a duck, you know, and he was someone who, when I was growing up as a child, that my father used to make me watch and see how he raced.
It was fun with him because I never got beaten from him, but because it was quite easy to cut him off the wash.
Okay. But I think he always wanted you to cut him off the wash because there was always a better wash just behind. And he was not only did he was a great technician, but there was a man who loved the sport, wasn't there? He enjoyed every race he went in. He used to race the 10Ks at the Sprint World Championships. Did a great job of that. And there are so many skillful people out there through generations who don't arrive on this list of top medalists simply because of the disadvantage of timing. So there's the front group just cruising again. So back to the action. We're too busy talking about external stuff there, but hey.
It's a long race.
That's the trouble with old people. They reminisce. Yeah. They reminisce rather too much sometimes.
But it's a long race.
We are going to have to fill the time with something, and especially when they're up the top end of the course in the rather fortunate, really, heat haze. I mean, for the spectators, it couldn't be better. For the paddlers, maybe they're suffering a little bit in the heat. So again, Merchan, Alonso, beautifully safe there. I think it looks like Romalo tucked in the back now. He'll be relieved to have got into a safe position. And it kicks off again. No, it didn't. I was looking out, and just at the back of that group there was a flurry that you can't see on screen. So there's a little bit, it may be that Hamar has closed the gap and he was trying to make an impact on the back of the group just to find some safety. So sorry, I was talking about something that you couldn't see. Here they come, they're coming into the turn before the portage, so this will be their second portage of how many?
Seven. Of 7. 8 laps, 7 portages. Each lap is about 4 kilometers, and then after the final portage, it's 500 meters to go to the finish.
So 2 portages done already. This is going to be their third. And as things stand at the moment, it's the same for usual suspects in that front 4 for the portage.
And Matthias Hamar is still struggling a bit, but he looks quite comfortable. Or has he given up? He's paddling very, very slow.
So here we come, we're coming head on now into the portage. So
And Hamar is on the right-hand side now, exactly the same position
as he made the same mistake last time.
Yeah.
With both the Spanish on his side as well.
Yes.
The Spanish will go, I'm pretty sure, to the left of the pontoon. He did it on the last lap, they'll do it again. But see how much control Merchant's got over that group. No one's really prepared to take him on.
It's in that stage of the race that everyone is eager to save power.
In fact, it's Faria in the diamond.
Yes, it's Faria and it's
Romalo out to the side.
Yeah, he knows that the Spaniards are taking the right-hand side, so he's choosing the left together with the Boros.
So let's see if Hamar's learned anything from the last portage. Watch him in the white cap at the back. He got held up big time on the last one. And he's coming in. Same place as before, but much cleaner out. At least he's going to maintain contact with the group this time. But Merchant up and away. Boros, Alonso and Faria. And they're the four. They're comfortable. Graziani next. He needs to get in his boat quickly and well. There you see Alonso, as we've told you before, never put your boat inside, but he did put his boat inside.
Yeah, he did.
But you know why? Because he knew exactly that Merchant was going.
Yes.
There was no doubt in his mind. He knew the story.
Once again, Boros heading first out from the portage. Alonso perfectly positioned. Merchant
equally perfectly well positioned.
Yes.
It's kind of ominous for the other guys. They haven't seen Merchant or Alonso make a single mistake.
No. Faria perfect there on the diamond wash.
Faria spent a long time there now, and both the fast legs. So Romalo's the next one in, and really he's got to do something to break into that first four. Someone just dropping off the back of that group. You can't see that on screen, but someone didn't come out the portage so well. We may get a shot of them soon. But again, the group reforms. It's all slowing down at the front.
Which make Graziani making a move to get to close the gap there.
There's still a couple of people out of shot.
It's Hamar
on your screen.
Hamar that once again have some trouble there. Have a couple of seconds now, maybe 25 meters to keep up with them. Another quite unlucky portage for Hamar.
How many times can you be unlucky, Stefan, before you learn?
Yes, before you learn. And also, how many times can you close the gap? I think this will be hard for him now.
I think, yeah, it definitely is going to be. On the graphic, they've got Urban up in the running there. That's coming into the portage.
I saw Hamar early on this season in Stockholm doing a marathon race there, a selection race.
So Faria on that graphic came in at the back of that group.
Ah, that's right.
And came out at the front of that group. That's someone who's well organised.
Yes, a fast runner. I've seen that before as well.
He came in on the diamond, obviously took a bit of time getting out, and when he
actually gained something over this portage.
Yeah. But there at the front, you got.
As you said, sometimes it's better to take it nice and easy and run quickly.
Especially with the runs the length they are now. I mean, in the old days when you had 300-400 meter run, if you ran that quickly, you didn't have any arms when you got back in the boat for a good 2 or 3 minutes. But now these runs are only short, 100 meters, and you can run that pretty much full pelt and still have some arms left at the end of it.
Exactly.
Just go and tell Jim that they should watch either here or there for the graphics and the turns, because they don't tell anything.
So it's all kicking off in the front group again. Just those same patterns repeat and repeat and repeat. Each time they have a spurt, the same guys end up at the back, the same guys end up at the front, and every time it's a little bit more hard work for the people who are already suffering. See the extreme changes of direction? Now the easiest way to climb a wash is at 90 degrees to that wave. It's the quickest way over a wave. If you can get your body to go over that wave at 90 degrees, that's the wave done and dusted. If you crawl up it at an angle, you spend an awful lot of time going uphill, and that's why you see them move out at such extreme angles. Again, it all settles down. I'm not sure who that is out to the right, but he's obviously got some work to do. Just been joined in the commentary box by the legend that is Jim Rossiter. You can hear him chuckling away in the background. He's armed with a microphone for the on-site commentary, which, to be fair, he's having a hard job with, aren't you, Jim, with the volume of the local guy?
Well, indeed. It's a sort of a challenge.
A challenge is a nice way of describing it, but you're doing a fine job. Everyone appreciates you being here.
Internal British joking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Nice photograph of the church there.
it is, and it's a lovely church, actually, Jim. It is a lovely church, and here we are head on, and actually virtually come to a standstill again.
Back to 8 again.
Full complement, yep. 8 paddlers again. 1 out to the back still. But when you see a group like that stop, you've got a small opportunity of at least halving the distance on them.
Exactly.
And you can see that in the background there, he is working away. And are they going to let him come all the way in? To be fair, they don't really care either way. He's already too tired.
Yeah.
He can join the group, he can tag along if he wants, but essentially those front guys have written him off.
But Hamar is there now. I think he didn't hesitate to wait a little bit behind there. And
Is that still him out on the right hand side, Stefan?
yes, yes,
He seems to like it out
yes. And you see, you got a little bit seasick out from this camera because it's on a very small pontoon out there.
It's on a pontoon not only with a cameraman but with some judges as well. So
Exactly.
any movement from any of those people, and it gives you the authentic feel of being out on the water though.
Exactly.
You can sit at home in the comfort of your own room, in your sofa, and feel like you're part of this race.
And it's better than helicopters out there that
Absolutely,
we used
it's
to have.
an experience that we've given you. It's like a 3D experience. It's the extra dimension to your viewing pleasure that we've given you at no extra charge.
Got a feeling of the sea.
So Romalo now, I would think he'd be quite pleased to be there now. He's been struggling out the back for a while. I know there's no speed in the group now and it's just downtime for everyone, but at least he's got a bit of space around him at last. He's not struggling to find what's left over after the other guys have taken their pick.
He doesn't use any energy in front there now.
He's using his time at the front for recovery.
Yes, exactly.
And if the others are going to let him do that, then he's going to take every minute of recovery he can get.
It's comfortable for him and for all of them now.
Doesn't look too uncomfortable for the Spanish either, does it? There?
He's the only one paddling one of those nice new boats,
I know, and it's interesting with the new boats, you know. I remember when the previous generation of Nellos came out, that was when Ben Brown was at the top of his game, and he wasn't brave enough to make the move to the previous version to start with. And all these guys, you cling to what you know.
Exactly.
And you know how your boat behaves, you know, and you're comfortable with it. And to do a change as big as the new version of the boat is a big deal. Now Romalo, I think you can assume probably there's been a bit of pressure on him from Nello themselves. He's very highly associated with Nello, so he's been put in the new boat. But I've practiced in the new boat myself in wash hanging scenarios like this at home. Obviously not to this level, but this sort of number of people, and I absolutely love that boat. And it gives the same feel on the washes because there's volume behind you. It gives you the same feel that the old-fashioned boats did with the wide backs. So it's very positive. It's got a very positive feel, which up till now the skinny boats haven't had. It's taken away some of that feel because there's just not enough volume for the wave to lift you at the back. But this new boat, I love it. I mean, it would ideally for Nello it'll win this race, but I can't see that happening today. Romalo doesn't look to be on his best form, and those Spanish just look ominously strong.
So we've got 8 in that
That's Jim blasting us out with the local tannoy system. Just asserting his authority over us there. And here we go. It's all starting to kick off again.
Into the turn.
And these efforts are not done with any intention of leaving anyone behind. It's totally to do with reshuffling. It's a reshuffle of that group. Everyone wants a position of safety.
Soon we will have the graphics once again. Quite high speed now.
It's quite hard to see there. But someone's coming around the outside pretty fast now. I'm guessing that's Merchan.
It's really, really quick now. It's full speed ahead. Around the turn there.
And if we get a nice shot without the sun glaring, whoever it was who came around that left side was pretty impressive there. Now the same's going to try and happen on the right hand side. And again, no problems at all. And that same pattern. Here we go again on the right hand side. He's going to come around, cut the previous occupant of that wash back into the V-wash. And each time that happens, you see the group just get strung out just a little bit.
Nicely around the turning buoy, leaving good room. Second turn. Passing the station with the graphics, the intermediate time. We got it soon.
Is that Hamar struggling on the back of that group?
I think so.
Or is it Romalo? No, it's Romalo just hitting the front now.
Romalo is still in front. So
And he's actually pushing on a little bit as well, Romalo,
Yes.
now. Now he's leading. A little bit of intent, and no, it's all stopped again. So he wanted to come around and take, I think, Merchan off that side wash. Merchan pretty much said no. Now, if somebody says no to you once, you probably have to listen to that. And you try a different side, you try a different tactic. So Merchan Alonso, left and right of the leader, who again I think is Boros. Romalo attempted to break into that 4 but failed. Merchan shut him down. And I would say this is a deliberate attempt on Merchan's part to make life hard for Romalo, because Merchan's not someone who minds being put back into the diamond wash. He's not scared of coming round again if he has to. And again it kicks off. It's Romalo, Merchan. So neither of them want to lead, but they each want to reorganise their position. So it's going to be maybe Alonso taking the lead from here. And Romalo's just had 2 fairly concerted efforts absolutely denied by Merchan. Merchan knows what that means to him, and be assured that Romalo knows exactly what that means to him also. But now it's settled. Merchan's leading. Romalo now comfortable on his side. He's happy again now. And Alonso, it's just gone out of shot now. Was being challenged for his spot in the group, and he has also said no. So those guys aren't enjoying being pushed back down the group anymore. They're starting to say, I don't want to be in the backlog anymore. Romalo, yet another attempt. Be interesting to see how this one pans out. The only way he's going to get to the front and comfortable is if he leads. But finally, Merchan, he's decided he's going to take it on for a little while, That's probably because they're coming again within striking distance of the portage, and Merchant does not want to be pinged down the back through that group before the portage arrives. They're about 2.5 minutes away now from the next portage, and that would explain why Merchant was so reluctant to have Romalo cut him out and take the best wash there.
Nine in the group now. Quite a big group. Second group is far behind. So anyone falling off this big group will have a long way to paddle on their own.
There's definitely no safety net there, is there?
No, it's not.
Your only hope if you fall off is that someone falls off with you, and if you're brutal about that and you're falling off, you might take someone with you.
Yeah.
And that's your only chance of remaining safe. To fall off that group on your own is a dangerous game.
Seems like Ramalho is a little bit more decisive now into this portage.
He's come in the first 4 on a lot of the portages, but he hasn't come out well, has he?
No.
I'll tell you, one thing that is different about those boats that he's using is the balance point is much further forward.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's a learning process for him on that, actually knowing where to pick up the boat and run with it. Maybe that's why he can't get comfortable.
Into the portage once again now. Merchant, Ramalho making an effort. He don't want to be left behind once again.
Romalo instigated that, didn't he?
Yes.
He started that because he's just not happy anymore coming into that portage.
And watch Alonso, he's very calm.
Alonso didn't care at all. Does not care.
No, he does not care.
Absolutely doesn't care.
Boros does not care, Faria does not care. Let him do it.
Romalo in first.
No problem. Yeah, you're right there.
He's just not happy picking the boat out of the water, is he?
Exactly. He had a bow down.
Yeah. So that's a learning curve for a new boat, and that's exactly why maybe you don't try new equipment at the European Championships.
Merchant, Ramalho, Alonso, Faria lost some ground by that.
But we know he portages well.
Yes.
And if those 4, 2 Portuguese, 2 Spanish, can get away in a group of 4, there could be a lot of communication there.
It could.
So who's first away? Looks like Merchant, and he's not going to go and do anything, is he? He doesn't.
He's just waiting there now, relaxing.
He's waiting. He's probably kicking himself a little bit that he worked as hard as he did over that portage.
Watch him now.
he had a bit of downtime. And where are the others? You know, the others were rushing through the portage, but where are
Boros is there now.
Yeah, and Boros, he's the one who panics. Okay?
Yes.
He's not as confident as Merchant, who clearly, and there's the bow of Romalo's boat. Finally, he's come out of the portage in the top 4. But they're all there. That's a little bit more manageable. It's down to 6.
8.
Only 6 in that group. There were 8 coming in, or maybe even 9 coming in.
9 coming in, and now there are 6. So even if it was quite relaxed after the portage, there were some guys that really dropped off.
And there's Boros. That's pushing on. He's
Boros, Alonso are there. Merchant, of course. Ramalho. I think it's Graziani on the right-hand side there.
Yeah. How was Alonso coming into that portage? Yeah, the other 2 guys are neck and neck, really fighting out. Yeah. And did he care?
No, not at all.
Not one little bit. Not one little bit.
It's a gap now.
Yeah, but it's a gap that will close very quickly if they don't actually move. Yeah, they've literally stopped, haven't they? So the 2 guys behind, again, they'll see an opportunity to close, but how many times?
Hamar once again.
We didn't really watch Hammer on that portage. We were looking more at Romalo that time.
Yes.
So I didn't really see how Hammer got that far behind. But there he is. They're going to be back. It's going to be back to the same group of 8 that came into the portage. And to some that might seem a little bit futile.
Yeah.
That they've made no progress. But they have made some progress. They've learned quite a lot. Romalo's gained a lot of confidence from that, hasn't he? That he came in, he could drop a lot of that group coming in.
And probably he needed that confidence.
Yeah, Alonso didn't look like he needed any more confidence than he already had. Merchan was challenged, wasn't he, by Romalo? It wasn't easy for him coming in there and getting in first. So maybe that's dented Merchan a little bit as far as Romalo's concerned. But there's still everything to play for, obviously, and we're going to have another cat and mouse lap. But how much fun is this to watch? It's fantastic. If we could, in the big picture, if finally you could have a drone over that group and see the movement around the group, that would be absolutely awesome. I mean, it's only a matter of time, isn't it? Before that sort of thing happens.
It is. This time we have 4 cameras and 4 cameramen running it. It's a question of money to put in more, but money will come in if we have good production. So
you see the drones that react to a tab that the person has on them. I mean, if you had a tab on 3 or 4 of those and 3 or 4 drones ahead, I'd say there may be a good few collisions between the drones. but wouldn't it be a great view to have?
Absolutely. It's always parts to improve, which also make our work some interesting.
It would certainly give you a different viewpoint to commentate from, wouldn't it? A view from above, and then you'd see the dance, wouldn't you? The dance that is that changing the whole time, and it is like it's a structured movement. It looks fairly random from the side because you only see the flurry, but from above you'd see the way the whole thing is there's a beauty to it that you don't see or you don't understand unless you've been there. The way people make room for other people, they see their gap closing down, they start to move out from an unsustainable position before the position becomes unsustainable, and it's just a nice circulatory pattern that you can see time and time again. So as they disappear up into the heat haze, a little bit of action at the back of the group. So there's a lot more action at the back of the group than at the front of the group, and that's just a bit of an illustration as to how you have to keep rearranging yourself at the back there. The front stays relatively calm.
It's interesting to see as well that it is the same guys in the top all the time. It's Merchan, it's Alonso, sometimes Ramalho, and from now on I think we will see Ramalho a lot more there, and it's Boros.
Yeah. Certainly Boros, Merchan and Alonso are consistently in that front 4.
Yes.
And they spend less time outside that front 4 than any of the others. And
I think Ramalho wants to be among the top guys always from now on. Now I think it's Hamar up there doing some work.
Yeah.
Matthias Hamar. I saw him in May in Stockholm doing a race, and he's strong this year. He can do a lot of work himself. Matthias Hamar, who were 3rd last year at the World Championships after Ramalho and Alonso. Merchan didn't do K1 then.
You see a rare example there where Merchan's been pushed to the back of the group. He can work his way up fairly confidently, I would imagine. He's just taking a break in one of the back end V-washes, diamond washes. He'll rest there. You can see how relaxed he is, still low hands, low shoulders, no stress going through that at all. Happy to wait there, and at some stage you'll see him come round and join back in the front 4. So at the moment it's Alonso in the diamond, equally rested. Merchant directly behind him, and a diamond further back down the group. And at this speed no one's really stressed. But I tell you who is stressed, Romalo. Look at the splash of the paddle from Boros hitting Romalo in the chest time and time again as they went round that turn. So when the angles of the turn come in, Romalo gets that shovel full of water right into his face and his chest. And that wears a bit thin after a couple of hours, I imagine.
Yes. Maybe he's just now enjoying it because of the heat. It's really hot.
So Portugal 2 and 3 there, and Boros has finished his turn, and he pretty much announced that by stopping paddling.
Quite surprising that Faria is...
Here comes Merchan round the outside. He'll come all the way round, not too much of a flurry, but when he joins in, probability is that he'll be back in that front group. A little bit of hesitation there, and sadly we haven't got the camera angle to see what happened. We'll only find that out when they come back down into camera view. Corinne of Belgium there was one of those two people who appeared to be closing. It's hard to tell with the camera angles, but even if they do close, they're not going to do any damage to the main contenders. So whether they close or not is of no consequence to these leaders. So up in the heat haze there. During these slow periods, you take the advantage of that to maybe have a sip on your drink, rehydrate as best you can. And get as much relaxation in as you can. Get any waste products out of your muscles. A few deep breaths. But constantly keep an eye out for something that might happen in a minute. Just watch the movement of other people. Know who's behind you, know who's in front of you, and know what they're capable of doing. That's the key to understanding your position in that group. So a little breeze picking up on the lake now. They're coming into that now, a little slight headwind, really minor, but at least that will keep them cooler than when they're paddling up away from the commentary position. They're headed back towards it now, and so the games begin again. A few flurries, and people at the back struggling just a little. I really don't have a clear enough view of who's who to give you any sensible information, but I can see that Merchan, as we suspected, is on that lead wash again. What you see there is that he came right from the back of the group during a time where the group was really slowed down, but he didn't come halfway up the group and take a break. He came from the back to the front. It got the job done in one go. It got the job done in a very positive way, and that is the most efficient way of doing it. Now to his right, the lead has been taken up. So you got Alonso to his left. I can't see who's to his right, and Merchan will happily ride that V between the two of them. He'll be hoping that Alonso takes it up, because then he's got the ideal position in the diamond wash. It's really hard to make out who's who, and I really apologise for that. So that's just confirmation of who's in that front group. There's a 43-second gap back to, I think it was actually two paddlers there. On the graphic it came up as one, but I think Corinne is also there. Number 555 from Belgium. He's and so the rotations continue. See Romalo uncomfortable with his position on the far side. He's got the two Spanish to his right. They're not both going to let him in. So his choice at this stage really is to get ahead, do a little bit of leading, and hope the group forms around him. Now he's okay again because Merchan's leading, and that gives him the in to get on the front wash. So all that flurry, all that coming up neck and neck is just the time to reshuffle the group. Find yourself a comfortable position. We've said it time and time again, and just find your place in that group. Merchan never flustered. And we'll just sit and let this play out until the group come back into sight. They're about 3 minutes from the turn buoy before they come into the next portage. Now I started off crossing off the portages as they came in, and I stopped my crossing after 2. So at some stage I need to find out how many laps they've done again, and we can work out from there where exactly they are in the race. So change of leader there. And we're back up to 10 people in the group. So Corin caught up with whoever he was with, and that's how slow the front group's been travelling. It may seem odd to you that they're prepared to let people catch up, but they really, really don't care. The main contenders there are so confident in their ability to manipulate that group that a couple of people tagging on the back is neither here nor there for those guys. So it could be 353, 573 rather, leading. No, 5 Faria. So I thought that was Faria in the Faria in the polka dot boat. I obviously read the number wrong of the leader. Well, we'll get there for you. Here they come around the turn, and interestingly, it's not the main 4 in the lead. In fact, watch Merchan there, he's right at the back of that group. And that, I don't know, is a little bit surprising. Even if you're confident, I wouldn't think you'd want to be there. Faria, Romalo coming in. We've got cameras dipped behind the tree, which is unusual.
It's Faria and it's Ramalho and it's Odvarko. Jakob, I mean.
There goes
Jakob.
Romalo. Romalo learned. You got Alonso this side, pink nose boat. Just as relaxed as before. Romalo also looking a lot more relaxed this
and
time.
it's Pedersen. Max Pedersen is the Dane. The young Dane there, 579. Quite amazing. Can that be true? Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
It is.
He's one of the people who've closed up on the group. And not only is he closed up, but now a little bit of a mistake by him. Too much rushing. He's ended up stood in the water. And all that effort just to do something fancy. He had to stand up in his boat like all juniors do. They all think they can stand up in their boat and get out while it's moving. When will they learn that? This sort of stuff looks great at home on the landing stage in front of your mates.
Or if you have trained it a lot.
That's when it looks good. When you got your mate on his little GoPro to film you doing something fancy on your own, that's when you stand up in your boat. Not at the European Championships. Guys, grow up.
I've done it several times at the Worlds actually, but then I was in the lead to do it.
Yeah,
So.
he wasn't in a position there to do anything fancy. I mean, what did he try?
This is Ramalho. Ramalho is going now. A very, very great portage of Ramalho. We were a little bit dubious on his ability to portage, but now he's back in his former skill of portaging, and now he's in splendid isolation. He has a lead of about 30-40 meters now, and hunting is Faria, and Alonso seems to doesn't care, and so does also Merchan. If Ramalho would know that, he would just go now. Go for it, Ramalho, go for it, because your teammate is slowing down the group now. This is an excellent example of team racing. Faria is heading the group. He's paddling really, really slow, letting Ramalho go and fly away. Ramalho is going. He has seen that now, and now he's going really, really quick. Very, very interesting development of this portage.
So I'm going to take the position of the two Spanish guys here. They're the two strong guys in the race. They know that gap can only open up so much. They're gambling on somebody closing the gap for them, but also they know while they know while Romalo's out the front there, he has to work hard, and if they can make him work hard for a long time, then maybe that will play into their hands also. But that's a big gap.
But the one that is starting the hunt, the one that realized that is the most unexperienced guy, it's Max Pedersen from Denmark. Mads Pedersen, who won the Junior World Championships last year, has starting the hunt. Very, very unexpected. And he has Emilio Merchan on his left side, and he has Alonso on his right hand side, but Ramalho is now flying in front of all the others.
I'm going to give Merchan and Alonso the benefit of the doubt here. I think they're measuring that gap well. I think they're going to allow Pedersen to close it as best he can. They're happy that Ramalho's working hard. It's just two different ways of looking at the same scenario. I think the Spanish are probably in control of this situation at this stage. Pedersen, he's the one. He's prepared to do the work. He's put his paddles down now though, and sooner or later those Spanish will make a concerted effort to close that gap, but not before they've hung Ramalho out to do 4 or 5 minutes solid work by himself.
Yes, could be. This is a very similar situation that we are used to seeing bicycling or cross-country skiing, and I've been seeing this for instance, in the Olympics in cross-country skiing, when the Swedish guy just pushed away exactly that style, and no one believed in it, and the rest of the team slowed it down, and he managed to win, but only with a couple of seconds.
Right. It's always the same. Yeah, Romalo's got no choices now.
Exactly.
He has to go. He's already done. Yeah. He's already done what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So he's already spent some energy.
So it's just going for it.
To stop now would be foolish. But those Spanish can just outweight him, I think. Provided they're not losing too much ground, they can wait and wait and wait. They're taking it easy on Pedersen's wash, and they can close the gap later. And Ramalho, I think, maybe is hanging himself here.
Maybe, but. If he holds out this, it's excellent. Very, very interesting development, and we can see that now that the speed is not that high. They're just waiting him out. And out on the right hand side, I think it's Graziani coming up.
This is really tense for both the Spanish. Even if they're resting on that wash, they're having to measure that gap every 5 seconds.
Yes.
They're measuring it, they're re-measuring it.
Yes.
In their mind, they're deciding whether they can close that gap. They're deciding if Ramalho is getting further away, whether he looks fresh. Their thought processes are on fire right now.
Absolutely. And they try to stay cool. And I think maybe they are judging a little bit between themselves. Both of them knows that one of them could close the gap quite easily if they want, and they don't want because they don't want to spend energy.
Exactly. So
that could be the disaster for them.
And they could destroy themselves in that way. Yeah. There's so much could pan out from a scenario like this. In terms of entertainment, this race has just doubled in entertainment over the last 3 minutes. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And finally, Romalo sorted a portage out for himself. He'd been so bad up to that point in making the best of his opportunities, but now he's out the front. And there's a head-on shot. The gap looks long, head-on.
The gap is great now. He has about 75 meters now. So he's increasing the gap, and it's Faria in the lead of the pack now, and he is of course slowing things down the best he can now.
And Romalo's definitely not work shy. I mean, you see in Copenhagen when he was capsized in one of the incidents, he was a long way behind and he very nearly caught the front group by himself. So he's not scared of doing a bit of work, but at some stage he has to make that final decision, and he's going to have to make it fairly soon, I think.
A very, very, very interesting development of this race. Now it's team racing at its best, and it's Ramalho in top, and Faria is leading the pack and slowing it down. It's very dramatic out there now. Their brains are working top speed now, especially Alonso and Merchan, to decide if they should go for it or just wait to win the competition in between themselves.
Yeah, Merchant, he showed signs of weakness earlier this year in the Waterlands Marathon, where he really didn't perform at all. In fact, he performed so badly, you assume that he didn't really care. But you never know, maybe he's not on good form this year. But he certainly looked good all through the early stages of this race.
Absolutely, he was in control.
Total control.
The Waterland Marathon this year was quite a good race, actually.
It always is. I mean, Edwin Denise, who used to race in our generation, he's done a fantastic job of promoting that race.
Yeah.
He pays for people to come over. He's done a lot of publicity, and the big names go there now, and it's become one of the races on the annual circuit.
Yeah.
So here is that
everyone
following
is
group.
there to
We're on screen here.
Yeah.
You can see Merchan,
is pushing now.
Alonso,
but they are way.
Yeah, as that elastic snapped, are they too far behind now?
Yeah. Not too far entirely.
24 seconds.
24 seconds already.
Eesh. That's a big gap.
Jim? It's 24 seconds now, and Ramalho is increasing the gap.
Okay, there's a general buzz of excitement around the whole site here. You don't see one paddler break free in these races very often, and here we have it. Romalo 24 seconds ahead of the other guys. The other guys, when we just saw them, didn't look particularly motivated to catch him. But then you've seen Spanish guys do strange stuff before, even at the World Championships in K2 last year, where it was the two Spanish against the South Africans. The Spanish were more concerned with each other than they were about winning the race and beating the South Africans, which on the last portage gave the South Africans pretty much free run to get ahead. And maybe the same here. Maybe there's internal politics in Spain that we don't even know about, and they're more interested in each other than they are in Romalo.
I think they are a little bit overconfident, actually.
Possibly.
They know that they are able to win the race at any case. So they just waited and hoped that anyone else should do the hard work in front of them, and that was a mistake. I've seen that happen in cycling. I've seen that happen a lot in cross-country skiing. It's the same pattern, exactly the same pattern.
There's certainly some action on screen now. I can't see exactly what's happening because of the heat haze, but whatever that group is shifting.
Someone has started a hunt now. The speed is great. Let's see if my binocular is better than...
Yeah, if you're going to start this hunt, really, you need to finish the hunt by getting A to Romalo, obviously, but you need to get there with only 2 or 3 other guys. You don't need 4 when you get there.
I think it's Boros in top.
So there's Romalo going around the second turn.
And the gap is even larger now. And he's going full speed now, Ramalho, trying to create as much gap as possible for himself. Still a full lap to go after this.
Yeah.
This will be really, really interesting. He still has a full lap to go after this portage. A little bit too long for him. He just hates the distance for the moment.
Yeah, the end can't come soon enough for him at the moment, I imagine. So in this second group, in this chasing group, they're down to 30 seconds. What they don't need in this second group now is extreme changes of speed. They need a constant attempt to catch up. They need to communicate with each other. They need to accept that unless they communicate and work together, then they've all lost this race.
Exactly, but if they do, they have the advantage to do the hard work and share the hard work in between them, and they could go full 1,000-meter speed in 2 minutes and then shift to another guy setting the speed, and that would be quite an easy job to do if they decide to do it. But I doubt.
It's having the communication in there to do that. And
yes.
And at the moment, it doesn't look like they've got it, does it?
Now once again it's Faria on top. Now Mershan now. Mershan is I think Mershan has realized the danger now. He has really started and trying to achieve something there. It's Mershan. And now Faria is taking over Faria and slowing it down again. Of course.
I think ideal for those Spanish is if they could come out of this next portage with just the two of them.
Yes.
And work together.
Yes.
When they know they've both got a medal and they can both just work together.
Mats Pedersen there in the white cap.
See, that's even an uncomfortable group to catch. It's a five-man second group.
Yes.
And that just a 5-man second group just leads to constant. All the energy goes into maintaining a group shape, not into actually going forwards. Alonso's leading there, and he's not leading hard enough, is he?
I think he's going quite hard now. The gap is decreasing now.
I don't know. I mean, you look out here, that gap's a good. That is a big gap.
Oh, it's a big gap. It's a big gap. Ramalho is doing a wonderful race there now. In his new Cinco boat that most people thought were made for 200 meters. It's prove its value also on marathon here, as you have said, Ivan.
That's a proper gap, isn't it?
It is a proper gap.
That's not a gap you can jump in one effort. That's a sustained effort. And that second group, they're having another flurry of activity, but those repeated flurries are just too draining.
Yes.
The average speed is too low when you do that. And Ramalho
it's more than 25 seconds now, I think.
Yeah. Well, it was 30 on the last time check anyway on screen, and I think that's more than 30.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's slowly becoming Ramalho's race to lose, isn't it? It's,
yeah. Or win.
If you have to choose a favourite in these guys in terms of sort of the way they race, the personality, then Ramalho's up there with the best. He's never any trouble in a group. He's never aggressive. He always races very clean. He's a nice guy to speak to, and he's just a popular guy.
He is, and as I said before start, he has always been working a little bit in the shadow of these big ones, Alonso and Mershan, but so he's definitely worth winning this. It will be a very, very interesting final lap. I think he has now about 5 kilometers more to go out of this race, and the big interest is if this will sustain.
I think it will. I mean, he's already done 10 minutes on his own. And once you've done 10 minutes on your own, you've settled, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not doing an unsustainable pace anymore. You've settled into the pace you can sustain.
Yes.
And it looks like the pace that he can sustain is going to be enough for him.
It's just setting the advantage of being in that position is that you can set the highest speed you can, but not higher than that, and then just continue, just go. It's like a very tough training session, and you are doing the best you can, and if that's enough, it is.
You can be sure he's done plenty of very tough training sessions. So, he's in familiar territory here.
Yeah, very familiar.
And I did him a big disservice when he left the group.
Yeah.
I thought they were hanging him out to dry. I thought he'd sorted his own problems out there, but now he's proved that he's going to be the man to beat. I mean, what is that guy? Here he comes into the portage on his own. Hopefully by now he's worked out the balance point of his boat.
Yeah.
and he can go through this portage without incident. Here he comes, he's coming in.
Jose Ramalho in the lead of men's K1 European Championships in Bohinj. This very, very hot and very interesting Saturday afternoon.
He's out, he's running through the portage. It's going to be a very positive portage from him. He feels good. At this stage, he's got to be sensible though. If he needs a drink, he's got to take a drink.
Yes,
he can't be
absolutely.
too panicked to refuse drinks. And
he have a bottle on his
got a bottle with him anyway.
chest,
Yeah.
And it's Boros now.
Beautiful. Look
Heading
at that.
the group of 5.
And this group's going nowhere, is it? Look at them.
No. It's too slow.
Yep.
And Ramalho is already over the portage. He's already set out there without any accidents.
And we should get another time check as these guys walk through the timing unit.
Yes.
Is that Alonso stopping to empty his boat out?
I think so,
yes. He's got problems. His pump obviously isn't working in there if he's got that much water in. And there goes Merchan.
And Faria and Boros and Mats Pedersen.
Merchan away. Already taking a look behind him.
We are very interested in the graphics now. How many seconds was it?
We may not be lucky enough to get a graphic. Merchant seems to be pressing on a little bit. Maybe he's trying to take the initiative out of this turn. Portage rather. Where did I get turn from? With 3 in the chasing group.
Why the hell do we not get graphics?
As soon as the graphic system is down, they're not going to let us see the actual time gap. It'll be really interesting, but I mean, you can see on the water that great shot up with the sparkling water, with the sun on the water. Not always the most comfortable when you're paddling to get that sort of glare off the water, but that looks over a minute, doesn't it? We can
I don't think so, but we'll soon see. Or if we can get the graphics from the main control.
Maybe we'll be able to time it from the turn when he goes around the turn. For those viewers in the UK, both John Simmons and Keith Moore have just got out at this end of the portage.
It's 50 seconds now. 50 seconds in the portage, and we'll see how much it is now. 50 seconds in the portage. What's the gap? That's pretty much. Now Alonso is on Emilian Marchand is on his own hunting, but it's now just 4 kilometers more to go, and this looks more and more like Ramalho's race.
Absolutely. I mean, a very, very brave move to take it from when he took it, but it's proving that he knew what his strengths were there. You wonder why he was so almost incompetent on the first couple of portages when he's got that ability.
Just relaxed, maybe. There it is, the mark. It's 1 minute 58. It's 58 seconds now. He's still increasing the gap. 50 seconds here in the portage, and now it's 58.
You know, the will has left that second group, hasn't it?
Yes.
They know now. They know it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made bad decisions, didn't they? They had the chance. They could have done it in the early days when the gap was 10 seconds, but they left it, and now it's game over. Yeah.
That is actually something for a PhD exam or something like that to evaluate that, because I've seen it so many times in cycling and cross-country skiing and in canoeing. People just giving up when a guy go that hard, and they aren't even exhausted.
No, they've just made the decision they can't follow.
They just don't care, and then it's over for them.
I think you make the assumption that it won't end. In the worst way. It will end in the best way, and they'll give up once they're 10-15 seconds ahead. But
wishful thinking then.
It is wishful thinking, but maybe that's the common occurrence. So maybe that's what you revert to. You revert to probability. It's not every day you see someone paddle off the front of a group like that.
No, that's right.
We got Jim Rossiter, the local comedian, having a laugh at our expense here. I would transmit that to the rest of the world, but the joke was on me, so I'm not going to.
And on me, I think. And on me, I think. I made a bad decision in Copenhagen where I had a gap, 50 meters or so, and decided not to go, which was really, really bad.
But you can only make the decision based on factors that you understand at the time, how you feel.
I was just overconfident.
Like. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thought I would win anyway.
Right.
And then was second.
And that was to the Hungarian.
Yeah. Kalman Petrovic. And my wife still blames me for that. You can't even follow a plan.
It's unlike wives not to forgive after so many years, Stefan.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a shot of Romalo, is it? It's hard to tell. He's a lone paddler. Yeah, it certainly looks like Romalo. Possibly he's not moving as well as he had been earlier on, but he's got a buffer now, quite a comfortable buffer.
We'll see how many second it is when they pass.
Stefan, have a look on the screen, man. Is that someone who looks comfortable now?
Yeah.
You
I think so. He's tired, but
I think that's hurting.
It's hurting now. Yeah, it's hurting. Definitely, it's hurting.
There's no spring in that. There's no life.
You know, it's over 30 degrees here now. It's been a long day, a long race.
He'll be very glad he's built up the lead he has, I think, at this stage.
Watch his technique now. He's using the hips and the stomach quite a lot. This is hurting. You're right. Absolutely. But still effective strokes.
Now the theory of these boats, obviously, with the bow turned upside down like that, is that you get a longer water line. And in theoretical stuff that I don't really understand, hydrodynamics, obviously the longer the water line, the faster that boat will be. So that's the theory behind the design. I'm sure there's actually a lot more theory than that, but that would be well out of my depth. I only understand the smaller points of this stuff. He's having a look across. Not always the wisest move when you're that far ahead, is it, Stefan?
No, but he is in the turn now.
Yeah, so a quick look across isn't going to damage him. But
it's about fear, as he said, as we talked about before.
It's still going to be a long paddle home for him.
We'll see how many seconds it is soon here. I'm timing them at the second buoy.
At this stage, you have to wish him all the best, don't you? I mean, if he folds at this stage, it would be absolute disaster for him.
It's 50 seconds now.
Oh, but look at the second group. Look at it on screen here, Stefan. We've got the second group, and they are making absolutely no attempt at closing that gap.
It's 1 minute 2 seconds now. 1 minute 2 seconds. Yeah, no attempt. They are giving up this.
That's not even a vague attempt at a chase, is it?
They don't realize that Ramalho is tired and that it hurts. And now Faria is in the front. Of course it's slow then. Yeah. He is doing a great job there, slowing things down, just looking behind. And I think Mats Pedersen is quite happy for this low speed now. This youngster, first time senior, and he is in the group going for medals. That's quite amazing. And here he is in splendid isolation, José Ramalho. Wonderful race. And now he has the wind in his head. Maybe it eased the pain a little bit because it's so hot.
It will certainly cool him down when he's coming back down towards the commentary position.
And now it's 3 kilometers about to go for him. And he has a lead on 1 minute 2 seconds. He increased the lead slightly, 4 seconds more across the past kilometer.
Yeah, he would be probably the most popular winner of this race.
Absolutely,
I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very, very well respected guy. He's had a lot of misfortune in the past. He swam in Copenhagen. Of course, there was the incident in Rome with Hank McGregor that resulted in a disqualification. He's been on the rough end of things a couple of times, but
you know, he won the European also last year, so he's not that.
no, that's not the first time. He's won it twice now. And
Ivan Alonso was second, but they had trouble in the in sprint. So
okay. So he's around the top turn there, and we are just waiting and waiting. We can just about make him out from the commentary position. He's on his own. I think he could even have a disaster at this stage at the portage, couldn't he?
yes,
So
he can stay. He can stop and empty the boat. We'll see how many seconds this is now.
well, there's the second group on screen, and they're just not moving as well as
No, they
Romalo is.
they are nowhere. He's increasing the gap now. Faria is still heading the second group, I think. Very slow. We'll measure him at the red buoy there, just in front of him.
Stefan's on the high technology wristwatch for measuring the time gaps here. Written down the time that Romalo passed the red buoy for us from our angle, and now it's just a wait and see, but that gap's going to be well over a minute now.
Fantastic race to watch. First this big group with all the tactics in within. More challenging than playing chess.
It's been very easy to talk through this whole race, hasn't it? I mean, there's been so much
fantastic.
happening.
Yeah.
It's made our job very, very simple.
Yeah, it really has everything. First this big group and all the tactics within it. We had some minor accidents in the portage. We had some very skillful portages, and then this breakout from Ramalho. Really, really nice.
Actually, he's looking a bit better now. We see him on screen again.
Absolutely.
And he's got a bit more life back into him.
Absolutely.
Maybe you have those little down periods every now and then.
Now it's 1 minute, and they still have quite a bit to paddle.
And the fact that he can nearly smell the finish line from there is going to be a big psychological boost as well.
Sure. It's 1 minute 15 seconds now. This is close to 1.5 minutes now. Amazing.
Yeah, how did they let that happen?
Yeah.
It is incredible.
1 minute 25 seconds. 1 minute 25 seconds. 1 minute 25 seconds now. 1:25.
So as an ex-racer, if you like, you really appreciate the bravery of what Romalo's done there.
Absolutely.
And the physicality.
Actually, I think he was surprised himself. He didn't made any move over the portage. He just wanted to make sure that he wasn't in any accident.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he was first. And then he realized 50 meters after the portage that, wow, I have a gap now.
And then he made the decision very, very quickly then.
Exactly. And he saw that Faria was slowing things down, and then he just went for it. It was absolutely amazing. It will be interesting to ask him in the interview of the thinking.
Yeah, what thought process he went through.
Or if it was tactics actually between Faria and Ramalho there. If it was it was
very well done.
Yeah, but at a risky early stage of the race.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just moving. He's still moving well. He's coming up to the last turn. You'll see the white boys come into shot on your screen very soon as he comes around the last turn before the portage. There we go. There's the timing system and the judges on the raft there. And here's the first buoy of the turn. There's 5 of those. Count him through those 5, and then it's a couple of 100 meters to the portage. What a
Soon-
display! What a display!
Yeah.
Oh,
Fantastic. Soon into his final portage, Jose Ramalho. Amazingly done.
so here he comes, head on. He's coming towards the crowd, towards the portage, and towards the commentary box. There's absolutely no doubt he's going to win this race from here, but he's probably even enjoying himself now.
Yeah. Now he feel confident of winning it. A lot of very positive energy, positive thinking in his head now. Got inspired of the feeling.
He's got such a good support network here as well with the Nello guys. His wife comes out. He's only had a baby 2 months ago, so you can be assured he hasn't done too much sleeping in the last 2 months.
Wonderful.
And he comes up with this.
And he has something to pedal for.
Yeah.
Someone that could be proud of him.
To be fair, he's probably had more sleep since he arrived here early in the week than he's had in the last 2 months. So that's probably why he's feeling so good. Look at that. No rush there. Absolutely no rush. Getting out of his boat comfortably. Running. He doesn't even have to run hard, does he?
No.
Look, I mean, the second group we can see, you can't, but they're just they're hardly moving.
No. They are fighting for the silver medal now, while Ramalho is going for gold. Great support from the crowd. He's worth it. He's definitely worth it. This is an amazing sportsman, an amazing athlete, really strong. We have seen him around even since 2009 in Crestuma. He have done many good races, but this is definitely one of the best.
I think the crowd appreciate what they're seeing there. You can hear the excitement in the crowd, and they know that's something special.
Absolutely.
He's having a little look across. He's having a look, see if he can see the other group, and they are a long way behind, and just going slowly, very slowly.
Very slowly. They are just concentrating now on the silver and bronze medal, and this will also be interesting to watch. And now we can have the cameras to the second group now. It will be an interesting move into the turn. It's Merchan. It's Alonso in the lead. Merchan on his left-hand side.
There goes Merchan now.
And Mats Pedersen as well.
Yeah.
In the green boat there.
But really,
The youngster Mats Pedersen, he has no respect, paying no attention to the stars in between him. We'll see how he managed this. Very well, as it seems. Very good.
You'd have to fancy his chances.
Fantastic. Mats Pedersen is running now. The youngster, just 19 years old, is running now over the portage.
It's Faria that did badly on that one. It's a bad time to have your worst portage.
I don't think he cares much.
No, I think he's done his job for the day. If Peterson can come second in this race, that is a phenomenal
Absolutely.
result.
And off he's.
And it does look like he's going to. I mean, he had the speed coming into the portage. There go the two veterans.
He's going very hard now, creating a gap for himself, and it's Alonso. Alonso is setting up the speed, trying to close the gap, and now Pedersen is slowing down slightly. Yeah, he must. It's still 500 meters to go, and I think both Merchan and Alonso will soon be on his wash. In any case, this is amazing. It's great by this young Danish Viking. We saw him last year. He was very good also then when winning his gold medal.
A great move there by Alonso. He knows that if he came up the right hand side of Peterson, then Merchan would be on his outside, and that would disadvantage Merchan.
Exactly. So now they are competing each other.
Yeah. So he chose his side well. He chose it wisely, and hopefully for him he can make the most of it. Romalo's already around that top turn. He's on his way back. He's just got the 200 meters or so.
And Merchan has problems now. Merchan is he realized the danger of being on the inside of his teammate Alonso, so he dropped off there trying to switch side, but lost some ground. Pedersen still in the lead there.
I'm going to say Peterson will come second in this race.
Oh, you think so?
I can't see that Alonso would have the speed to get past if you judge it on the portage here. But there's no doubt about the winner. You can see his silhouette paddling towards us. You can't see that on screen, but it makes for a great sight. And the sparkling on the water from the sun, and the silhouette of Jose Romalo.
And up there in the turn is still Mats Pedersen.
Pedersen, Alonso, Merchan, in that order, coming around the turn.
Can easily recognize Pedersen by his cap.
And is Alonso taking him on now? I think he has.
Yes.
And I think he's just got ahead of him.
Alonso is moving now, and so is Merchan. Merchan on the inner side.
Maybe a little lack of experience there.
I think it's Merchan that is moving the fastest now. But it's no doubt of the winner, as he said, Jose Ramalho. Splendid isolation towards another gold medal in the European Championship, but this time in an absolutely amazing way. In this very hot but otherwise excellent conditions on Lake Bohinj.
You got some real interest in that second group still, because Alonso is taking Merchan towards the shallow water. And you know he's doing that deliberately. It's hard to speed up in shallow water, but here comes Romalo. Absolutely fantastic, phenomenal effort. Absolutely awesome, fantastic win, most popular winner there could be in a race like this. Absolute superstar.
And
he's tired though. Look at that, he's tired.
Yes, and in sprint is several tired guys there. It's Alonso and Max Pedersen.
Pedersen is too much for him.
No, Alonso
it's
is
too
moving.
much for Pedersen.
It's too much for him. No, he's falling off, and it's Alonso and it's Merchan. And Pedersen will be fourth. But what an amazing race from this youngster. Ivan Alonso wins the silver medal, exactly as last year. And Emilio Merchan has the bronze medal, and then Max Pedersen.
It's almost too sad to see Pedersen's race end like that.
Oh yeah.
He'd done so well. He'd done everything he could, and then it was just too much for him down the last couple of 100 meters.
But it's amazing.
That is amazing. A junior from last year's Junior World.
He's born 96 and is already up there. Well done.
That's quite special. I mean, we've spoken so much.
Oh no, they are taking a bath, all of them there, all together.
There's a lot of respect there.
Yeah, it's a lot of respect, a lot of good friendships among these guys.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, and you can see there, they are bathing together.
They're all tired.
Yeah.
And the new boy coming in to join the bath.
Yeah, for the first time, joining the big guys. Really amazing.
Absolutely phenomenal race. Jose! We can't make contact with him. I thought we might be able to get him straight up here to say something, but...
you can take the microphone, Ivan, and jump in there with him and make an interview from a
I don't know if we've got
unusual
microphones down there.
We got one.
I'll try and wander around.
Yeah. A very, very tough in sprint here on the 5th and 6th position, and 5th is Urban Quentin from France, and he is just centimeters before Dries Corgin from Belgium, and as well 568 Matteo Graziani, who was among the top group for many laps, and also Jakub Adam from Czech Republic. And ninth is Kate Mole, Great Britain, and 10th is Jonas Sellens from Finland. Jonas Sellens, who used to paddle for Belgium, but found his love in Finland and is now living there, and also now in the Finnish national team. Married a Finnish canoeist and moved to Finland. Training there, and they are doing well for Finland on the marathon courses. 13th was Jonathan Simmons, Great Britain. A truly phenomenal race here this afternoon. Very seldom experienced something like it. Also good proof of a very well planned and intuitive team paddling when Faria moved to the top and slowed down the group when his teammate José Ramalho made his move. And we are waiting for the interview done by Ivan Lawler, who of course was very eager to meet these guys. Havas Balas, Hungary, who had under 23 gold in Oklahoma last year. He was very confident during the first 2 laps or so, but the heat of this lake this afternoon took him down a bit. .554, 15th position, or 14th maybe, is David Cottage from Czech Republic, followed by Marian Lakovic. Marian Lakovic from Slovakia, and Lukas Edwin from France, who actually won the K2 in 2011 in Singapore. And it's still some paddlers out there on the course, and we are waiting for the interviews. If the producer hear this, it will be nice to have the interviews live. We can switch the camera view to the interviews and let them go live. .576 is Jos Sakrajsek, the Slovenian 1000 meter paddler, who was in the top group for the first 2 laps. That is quite usual for sprint paddlers. Good sprint paddlers can keep up the pace quite well, but when it comes to tactics in these big groups, it's really hard for them. 1000 meter paddlers are training almost the same as the marathoners, but what they don't have is the tactical skill, the strategy, the tactics. You need to like that and learn it by liking it to be a good marathon paddler. And when you have learned, it's really interesting. Not just about strength, it's also about making the right decisions at the right time, all race through.
Okay, I'm stood here with 2nd and 3rd place in today's European Championships on the marathon. The winner, José Ramalho, is still up just a few meters away. He's flat out on the deck, he can't move, he can hardly speak. It was a big effort on his part. You guys, congratulations. As ever, you've been in the medals so many times, both of you. You've got 5 World Championship medals, you've got 6 World Championship medals, and how many? 3. So we got 9 World Championship medals stood right here. Today, these guys looked like they were in total control of that race for the first half. So at what point did the control change?
But in the third portage, third or fourth portage, Ramallo is coming, and one moment all men in the water only see, okay, come on, and Ramallo is coming in front, nothing go, and in a one round it finished the race. Okay. Ramallo is so much time, maybe 35 seconds, that's impossible.
So the gap opened up too quickly, is that right? Too quickly, and before they realised that it was opening up, it was too big to catch. Then, at that point, do you make a decision to just race for second place?
Sí, when I Ramallo in the one lap is only this, and in the group all people say is the silver medal is the most important, and the wall is impossible, and only control the men's, only see, and the last portage. But I'm very fast. The Denmark guy is dangerous.
Yeah, let's talk about the Denmark guy. Last year, junior world champion, and now this year he's racing. You guys are the big guys, and he wasn't scared of racing you guys. And you don't see that very often. A junior world champion straight into the seniors. So this is good for him, yeah.
Yeah. I know. Yes, but it's better for the race, no? The young men and new race. But for me, it's no good. I think in the last meter, coming.
When Ivan was leading the race in, and Peterson was to his left, and you were third on that, and you were gone. And then all of a sudden Peterson puts his paddles down, and then what do you think? You think, yes.
Behind. No?
Behind, yeah.
Behind me, there's too much people, and in my home, and I only think there's people coming now. 4 places is impossible, come on. And when I see the Denmark's man is dead, medal is a good place.
Fantastic. So here we have 2 of the biggest legends in the sport, and Rui, who's also a legend in the sport. Rui's actually a legend in his own as well, and that's good. So these are the big guns, and these are the guys that have been supporting this sport for so long, and it's great to see them excited about the young kids coming up, and it's great to see them still in the medals after all this time. Thank you guys. Really appreciate your time. Excellent. Thank you.
And finally, 5:75 over the finishing line, and that is Przemysław Szczepanski from Poland. It has been a very, very interesting racing day. Great racing. First, we saw Renata Shea dominating the ladies K1 in a very, very good way, as she have done the past 10 years. Then we had a C1 racing with Martin Köver that also dominated that race in a very good way, and then this amazing K1 men race that has had everything that a marathon race should have. It had good tactics in the big groups, it had challenging portages, and then a breakout from Ramalho, and his teammate Faria made a great effort also to slow down the group. That obviously made the wrong decisions, letting Ramalho fly, and he did, and he sustained, and he won. That concludes our broadcasting from Lake Puchini this afternoon. Wonderful conditions, and may we meet tomorrow morning for the final day of this European Championships. Thanks a lot for being with us, and hopefully the technique also have been with us this afternoon, so that our broadcast could have been watched all over Europe in a good way. Thank you, and welcome back.